Good morning, everyone. If you're tuning in live with us at 7:25 a.m., good morning to you. But if you're catching a replay, whether it be in the afternoon, the evening, or in the nighttime, we just want to say thank you for tuning in to News in Motion. If this is your first time tuning in to News in Motion, we just want to say welcome. And thank you for your support. And you're probably asking yourself, what is News in Motion? Well, News in Motion is a news media outlet with relevant commentary and call to action. We can be found on LinkedIn, YouTube, or any audio or podcast platforms. Today is April 24th, 2024. Try to say that 5 times fast. And we have What to Know Wednesday. So, with what's going on in the world right now, what is there to know? Well, stay tuned, and we'll find out later on in the show. But first, before we get into the intro, let's give a few shout outs to some of our viewers tuning in right now. Shout out to Miss Marion Jackson tuning in through YouTube. Good morning to you, Miss Shirley Nicholson, tuning in through YouTube as well. And good morning, Miss Adrian, who is also tuning in through YouTube as well. So, if you're ready for What to Know Wednesday, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this intro.
News in Motion.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I also see Deborah Johnson rolling up in here. I think we grabbed Adrian, so good morning to all of you. And I'm going to just also shout out, just for the heck of it, because maybe they're tuning in where they are. I want to just shout out Latrice Jones as well as Kim Edmondson and Gwendolyn. So if y'all out there tuning in, enjoying yourselves, I just want to say good morning to you as well. There are some viewers who say that they're tuning in at work, but they're listening. They're not on the the actual video. They have the video covered because they're on the computers. So of course we want to shout out Diane Ladybug, who's also been watching, and we want to shout out Stephanie Bright as well. And there's others. So we're going to start grabbing you in as well, because I know you're out there and you're like, hey, can you shout me out good morning? So I want to shout you out good morning as well. All right, y'all, we have a lot of news on this What to Know Wednesday. We have a lot of news. We're going to do our best to get through as much of it as possible. And if you want to hear about TikTok, just hold on. That'll come up later in the segment. Do us a favor. And for those of you who are new to News in Motion, I am Gail Dudley. I am your host. We have been doing this. We'll be 4 years old, June 20th, 2024. June 20th, 2024. Can y'all believe that? 4 years old. Again, we're going to get you through the elections, general elections for November the 5th. And then that week, sometime either the 6th or the 7th of November, we're going to let you know how we're going to make some adjustments, if we're going to make any adjustments at all. In the meantime, get your friends, your families, your neighbors, your coworkers, whomever, let them know, hey, tune in to News in Motion. That's going to help us offset and determine where we're headed and how we're going to get there. Also, get them to subscribe to the Friday Rundown. You can do that by going to gaildudley.com, and a pop-up box will come up, and then you just complete your information. It comes out pretty much every Friday. Every now and then we send out something a little extra. If you have not signed up for book conversations with myself, and I'll be interviewed by Davia Williams Stevenson, who is the host and the founder of Tales from the Shaker. We want to sign up, because although it's completely free, I'm feeding y'all like desserts and mimosas, spiked or not. We're doing all that, but we just have to have a count, and we have only space for so many people. So if you want to come, make sure you do that. While I am speaking on this, and let me hopefully I can get this. I see you, Tracy Burrs. Hopefully I can get this out for it to make sense. As the publisher, as y'all know, I have a publishing company. The book Inspired, A Call to Action, is now in demand. So, which is a great thing. Thank you. So the retailers get the books first. I am waiting on books. I know I owe some to Shirley Nichols. I know I owe some to some other people. There's probably about 7 of you that I owe books to. I'm last on the list, so I keep getting pushed down because the retailers get first dibs of the books because they're paying for them. And if they have customers like a Barnes and Noble, if they have customers and they're asking for the book is going to go to them first. So on my end, it shows that, hey, we're getting to you, but we got to get them to the retailers first. So if you're coming on May the 4th and you want your book signed because you bought it from Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Target or Walgreens or wherever, bring the book with you. So if you know you want to come, order it on Amazon. You'll get it in 2 days. It's going to take me a long time to get it. I'm trying to get it as soon as possible, but make sure you order it on Amazon and bring the book with you. Bring the book with you. So do not expect any books to be with me on May the 4th for you to purchase. Order it now from Amazon, bring it with you. And for those of you who have your books, please go to Amazon and review the book. Whether you've read a sentence, a paragraph, a devotional, or the entire book, just go. Even though you did not buy it on Amazon, please go and do that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, all right, y'all, let's get into the news. Let's start off with Buttercup. Buttercup. Trump. He's just mad at the judge. The judge is just really done. The judge is done with his attorneys. He complained about the criminal trial on Truth Social. We're waiting for the gag order ruling to come out. I believe the judge will possibly do that sometime today. It's getting way out of hand. I see your Gina Shorts is getting way out of hand. So, this is just crazy. But the judge pretty much went after the Trump's attorney, Blanche, saying, you're losing all credibility. Like, come on. And it's not looking good. You can even tell that Trump, some of the inside people, journalists who are in there are reporting. You can even tell that Trump is really frustrated with his attorney. So there's no telling what's about to happen. And even afterwards, when he goes to the cameras, y'all, he's not looking too good. So it's just very interesting how all of this is unfolding. And if you are capable to write in the chat because you're not driving, please do so to let us know your thoughts on it. I'm sitting back going, I don't know what's about to happen, but this is not looking too good for Trump and the Trump organization. So there's that. Also, y'all, there's still protests happening across campuses and universities across the U.S. about the Hamas and Israel war and the number of women and children who have been murdered. I see you, Dr. Antoinette. So now we have Robert Kraft. Y'all know Robert Kraft is, right? He's the owner of the Patriots. We have Robert Kraft as well as other billionaires who are suspending their donations to Columbia University. And this is the direct post from out of Truth Social. This is from Robert Kraft, and he did this under the founder of the Foundation to combat anti-Semitism. But he said, it is through the full academic scholarship Columbia gave me that I was able to attend college and get my start in life. And for that, I have been tremendously grateful. However, the school I love so much, the one that welcomed me and provided me with so much opportunity, is no longer an institution I recognize. I am deeply saddened at the hate that continues to grow on campus and throughout our country. I am no longer confident that Columbia can protect its students and staff, and I am not comfortable supporting the university until corrective action is taken. It is my hope that Columbia and its leadership will stand up to this hate by ending these protests immediately and will work to earn back the respect and the trust of many of us who have lost faith in the institution. It is my hope that in this difficult time, the Kraft Center at Columbia will serve as a source of security and safety for all Jewish students and faculty on campus who want to gather peacefully to practice their religion, to be together, and to be welcomed. Again, that's on Robert Kraft's Twitter X. So along with that, there's just been significant backlash about these protests. So also we have Leon Cooperman, who also graduated from Columbia Business School, has voiced his continued suspension of donations as well, a decision initially made after the events of October the 7th. He expressed his concerns directly to Columbia's president, criticizing the hiring practices of university, stating, stop hiring these left-wing professors that fill kids with hate. So it's just really interesting how a lot of people are coming out saying the things that they're saying, how they're halting money, how their money is dictating what may or may not happen. And all of this is becoming just this focal point, if you will. So, and I want to speak to that. Then see Marion saying Trump should realize he just might go to jail for what he's done. Well, there's that. I want to hear from you all. We're talking about Columbia universities and university and others, and the billionaires that are supporting these schools, and they're supporting these different wings and buildings, and they're supporting scholarships. What are y'all's thoughts on that? And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna say something that I've shared here a long time ago. I'm probably like the first year we were on the air. And that is collectively, we need to start pulling together our funds and our resources and giving back. I know our population majority Black, African-American individuals, as well as a lot of allies who are out there. We also have conservatives who tune in. We have independents that tune in. But what if we would collectively pull our money together? We may not be individually millionaires or billionaires, but if we collectively pull our money together and make sure that we are sending funds to the schools that matter. Maybe they're state-ran schools. Maybe they're HBCUs. Maybe they're trade schools and universities. Maybe there's journalistic university. Whatever we can do to make sure we're pulling funds together to send as well. Because as money is coming out, scholarships will decrease. People will not be able to go to school. We also have this federal student loan, although millions are being wiped away under the Biden administration. What's the come? Yeah, we need to start having this forward thinking in the things that we're doing, because we also, good morning, Judy Neal. We also flip over to AP News is reporting. A lot of people reported, but I love the way they gathered this yesterday. Tennessee lawmakers passed bill to allow armed teachers. You know, we had that not too long ago in Ohio, the state of Ohio. So y'all protesters chanted blood on your hands at the Tennessee House Republicans after they passed a bill that will allow teachers and staff to carry concealed handguns on public school grounds and bar parents and other teachers from knowing who is armed. Yeah, it was a vote 68-28 in favor of the bill sent to the Republican Governor Bill Lee for consideration. If he signs it into law, it will be the biggest expansion of gun access in the state since last year's deadly shooting at a private elementary school in Nashville. So y'all, that is happening as well. If this is not reason for you all to make sure you are registered to vote and you stand up and you go to these town hall meetings and you express your concerns, I don't know what is. So y'all, CNN politics, and we talked about this on News in Motion. You know, I have to just pause for a moment and say how proud I am of News in Motion and all of you. A lot of things that I was going through the alerts yesterday, deciding what I was going to pull and share on the air today. And of course it kept changing because the news cycle kept changing. I was coming across things saying, I am so proud of this platform because a lot of these things we've talked about a long time ago, and it's coming back around. Just like we said it was going to, even through our chats and conversation with people and through the Friday Rundown. Listen, y'all, get the Friday Rundown. Get the Friday Rundown. Dr. Antoinette says parents aren't allowed to know which teachers are armed. You heard that correctly. That is correct. And that is actually in the bill. They are not to know. They are not to know. So imagine a teacher who dislikes a child, a kid or student in the classroom. How are they going to react if something goes down? What are they going to do? Pull out a gun? Because if I read it correctly, there's also a piece of it about standing your ground. So how do you know? And will they become trigger happy? Will they just react out of anxiety, anxiousness, anything like that? What is really going on? So we have to be mindful of that. So CNN, millions more salaried workers will be eligible for overtime pay under the final Biden administration rule. Y'all remember we talked about this about maybe a year and a half ago? Millions of salaried workers will soon qualify for overtime pay under a final rule released by the U.S. Department of Labor on yesterday. The new rule raises the salary threshold under which salaried employees are eligible for overtime in 2 stages. Now, y'all, the threshold will increase to the equivalent of an annual salary of $43,888 or $844 a week starting July 1st, and then to $58,656 or $1,128 a week on January the 1st, 2024. Now, y'all, there's about 4 million workers who will qualify for overtime when the rule is fully implemented in January. But let's just pause right here. Let's talk about these numbers, okay? $43,888 or $844 a week. What's happening right now? What about the housing market? What about rent? What about food? What about gas? What about utilities? Yeah, again, $43,888. Now, just imagine that's they put that in the salary bracket. Just imagine that hourly worker who's possibly making, let's say, $19,888. Y'all, let that sink in for a moment. These are the necessary things we should be having conversation about. Let's talk about how do we sustain America when we have numbers such as $43,888, $58,656. When you're thinking about rent alone or mortgage payment alone, are they able to even take care of that before putting gas in their tank or food on their table, and let alone if they have children? What does that look like today? Business groups are expected to fight the effort, as they successfully did in the Obama administration, attempted to significantly hike the threshold. So you even have employers saying we're not paying that. So they're pushing back. They're not dealing with it because they don't want to pay more. Just think about what happened in where were we? In California. In California, where they dealt with raising the minimum wage, okay? And then how employers just say, well, we can't pay them. So they just started laying off people. They just started letting people go because they did not want to pay that higher number when it came to minimum wage. Y'all, a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about. And believe me, this will be on the ballot when you come to November. So when you're identifying your senators, when you're identifying your Congress people, your representatives, when you're identifying your local people, when you're identifying your attorney generals for the state, when you're looking at judges, sheriffs, commissioners, mayors, y'all, all of these things are on the ballot. They're all on the ballot. We can no longer have that one issue. We have to move beyond that one issue, single vote issue. All right, so then this rolls into, we talked about this here on News in Motion as well, and I'm really excited about this. It's like we've been bringing this to your attention. We've been, so let me just pause before I go into this Biden piece. And this is coming from NBC News. And yes, I'm proud of us. I'm going to talk about us we're communities. I'm going to talk about the work that we do collectively. All the viewers, all the listeners, all of the team, everyone. Y'all, I'm proud of all of us. I really am. We have been we've been sharing fact sheets from the Biden administration. We have been sending them out for you to read about it. We've been sending you anytime there are internship opportunities in the government and the White House. We've We've been sending you all the volunteer stuff, how you can volunteer during the different holidays to go to the White House and to design things. We've been sending you all of those things. We've been sending you everything that deals with small businesses and small business associations. We have been sending you these things. So here we are. The Biden administration issues a ban on non-compete clauses, prompting legal challenges from employers. Y'all remember that. What's up, Rodessa? I haven't seen you in a while. So good to see you pop in here. Remember, we've been talking about this whole non-compete agreement with young people, millennials, who are maybe doing graphic designs on the side, but they're doing PR marketing for a company, and that's their employment. Or young people who are doing Lyft on the side, or Uber on the side, or even not even young people doing other things to make sure they're filling the gap for their households so they can still eat and still have electricity and gas and still drive and get to places, have clothes that fit, whatever it may be, get medicine. Well, this has now been issued a ban on the non-compete. Y'all know we've been talking about that right here on News in Motion. Well, the Biden administration has issued a nationwide ban on the ability of employers to make their workers sign non-compete agreements. Now, business groups are already criticizing the ban, saying non-competes are essential to protecting trade secrets and proprietary information. Well, the Biden administration pushes back. What's up, Crystal? And we got your RSVP. The Biden administration pushes back and say, well, no, we're not talking about trade secrets. We're talking about allowing employees to work for other companies, or you pay them more. You want them to work for you, then you pay them more so that they will stay there. But they're saying we're not talking about trade secrets. We're talking about allowing people to work. I know financial institutions that were like, well, you can't work anywhere else. It's here or nowhere. Well, then pay the people to do that. So the rule is set to go into effect in August, but it's unlikely to be enforced until the court challenges. And they already are saying they're going to take this to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court may begin hearing the conversation in September, but they may not rule on that conversation until sometime in November. So a lot's unpacking here, y'all. A lot is unpacking here. Regina says there is a non-compete clause in the medical field. It's out there. It is out there. And so maybe the non-compete clause needs to change. And I think that's what the Biden administration is saying. Change it so you're saying these people can't work someplace else, or pay them more so that they can stay where they are. So with that said, the moment we've been waiting for. Statement from President Joe Biden on Senate passage of the National Security Package. In the statement from the White House, it says tonight a bipartisan majority. Stop right there. It was truly a bipartisan passage. I was like, well, y'all can work together for something. The bipartisan majority in the Senate joined the House to answer history's call at its critical inflection point. Congress has passed my legislation to strengthen our national security and send a message to the world about the power of American leadership. We stand resolutely for democracy and freedom and against tyranny and oppression. I will sign this bill into law and address the American people as soon as it reaches my desk tomorrow, that is today, so that we can begin sending weapons and equipment to Ukraine this week. The need is urgent for Ukraine facing unrelenting bombardment from Russia, for Israel, which just faced unprecedented attacks from Iran, for refugees and those impacted by conflicts and natural disasters around the world, including in Gaza, Sudan, and Haiti, and for our partners seeking security and stability in the Indo-Pacific. I want to thank Leader Schumer, Leader McConnell, and all the other bipartisan lawmakers in the Senate who voted for this bill. This critical legislation will make our nation and world more secure as we support our friends who are defending themselves against terrorists like Hamas and tyrants like Putin. I was like, well, that was a really good statement. But let's get into it, because this is interesting, y'all. This is interesting. All right, so TikTok is on the block, all right? I thought I'd put that rhyme in there for y'all. I know, straight lame, right? The Washington Post, Christinio Lamastrong, great journalist, reports Congress late Tuesday passed legislation to ban or force a sale of TikTok, delivering a historic rebuke of the video sharing platform Chinese ownership after years of failed attempt to tackle the app's alleged national security risks. Now, the Senate approved the measure 79-18 as part of this package. So they talk about all this. Y'all, it's 184 pages. Okay, I read it. 184 pages, so we'll be in the Friday rundown. I would highly suggest you read it for yourself, and if you also have children, nieces, nephews, or whatever. All right, y'all, the broad spending breakdown, as AP reports, is about $61 billion for Ukraine. Overall, provide Ukraine with the purchase of weapons to be $13.8 billion. Now, this is not a stock recommendation or anything like that, but anything that goes boom, you want to look at that in the stock market because it's going to probably be green, okay? About $26 billion for supporting Israel and providing humanitarian relief for people in Gaza. About $4 billion of that will be dedicated to replenishing Israel's missile defense systems, and more than $9 billion of the total will go towards humanitarian assistance in Gaza. So Gaza together, they probably have about $18 billion. About $8 billion for helping U.S. allies, and more than $3.3 billion would go towards submarine infrastructure, and $1.9 billion to replenish U.S. weapons provided to Taiwan and other regional allies. Whew. All right, so yeah, that's bill. That's HR 8038. All right, that's going to be in the Friday rundown. We don't have time to work it through here. But I have the TikTok one. And the TikTok section out of this, which is HR 7521, which they merged together with 8038, it's about 13 pages. I'm not going to go through all that either. But the act, y'all remember we did a bill reading and bill writing here on News in Motion. You can go catch that on our YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Gail Dudley. Look for a Wednesday workshop that talks about writing bill. We did a whole blown workshop, and then we gave the presentation in our Friday rundown. I'm telling y'all, we give stuff to y'all all the time. All right, the act to protect the national security of the United States from the threat posed by foreign adversaries, controlled applications such as TikTok and any successor application or service, or any other application or service developed or provided by ByteDance. Y'all remember at Mar-a-Lago, the dude who gives a lot of money to ByteDance, who has a piece of the ownership. Then we had Buttercup. Donald Trump was like, we're not going, he's like sent a signal to the Republicans in the House, don't y'all pass this, don't y'all pass this. And they like didn't listen to him for once in their life. They didn't listen to him. He's the one in August the 6th of 2020 had signed an executive order, but then the judge stopped it in September 20th of 2020, saying we're not banning TikTok. So all of this is happening. Okay, so I just wanted y'all to get the receipts and get the dates and all that stuff. Okay, so that's been happening. So that's ByteDance. That's what's happening here. All right, so they're talking about the surveillance, and they're talking about the security, and they're talking about Chinese surveillance and giving out our intel and all this and that and the other, right? Well, y'all remember on News in Motion, was it last week, where we talked about the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act that came out in 1979, and then they didn't want to re-up it in 2024. Well, Biden signed that one on Saturday. Say what? Yeah, he did. He signed that on Saturday. He signed, NPR reports that President Biden on Saturday signed legislation reauthorizing a key U.S. surveillance law after divisions over whether the FBI should be restricted from using a program to search for Americans' data nearly forced the statute to lapse. Now, they just talked about that part of it. But if y'all remember when I told y'all, because I dug into it, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, and that was in the Friday Rundown, I believe, last week. Friday Rundown, y'all, is free. You get all this information. That gives all the numbers or whatever. It passage of 1979 provided a statutory framework to use the electronic surveillance in the context of foreign intelligence gathering. So what's the difference between that bill and this bill? Glad you asked, because I wanted to dig into it and be real nosy and break it down for you. So I kept digging into it. Okay, the U.S. Patriot Act of 2001 made significant changes to some of the provisions. And then you had the Intelligent Authorization Act, fiscal year 2002. You had the Homeland Security Act 2002. You had the Intelligence Reform and Terrorism Prevention. That was in 2005. And you have the U.S. Patriot Act. That's in 2006. And then you had the final report at 9/11. What? So y'all, when you start looking at all these bills and you put them side by side, they pretty much all say the same thing. So why is TikTok in there? Yeah, that's the question we need to start with, which we're going to try our best to break this down tomorrow for Town Hall Thursday. Because all of these different pieces and parts, it's like they just put TikTok in the middle of it. Well, you have 6 acts already in place that talks about surveillance, foreign surveillance. So then why? Let's ask this question. Why was the legislation just really dealing with the FBI? The FISA that Biden signed on Saturday, when it was more to it than just FBI. What are y'all not telling us as American people? We the people. So barely missing the midnight deadline, the Senate had approved the bill by a 60-34 vote hours earlier for the bipartisan support of Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. We got to connect these dots, people. And we don't have time to do it today. But we need to talk about this because there's a lot that's unfolding here when you're talking about these bills and TikTok. Because here's the truth. If you have all these acts in place, you have all this legislation in place, and you're dealing with surveillance under the FISA Act, we don't need this. So what are y'all really doing? What's really going on here? So y'all, TikTok, for those of you like, was it going to be banned today or tomorrow? No, 9 months. After the election. Isn't that interesting? Also, y'all do know that Joe Biden got on TikTok the day of Super Bowl and his TikTok's blowing up. So what's really happening here? What's really going on? Is it just to take ownership here and that the U.S. controls TikTok? What's the difference between Facebook and Instagram and Threads and LinkedIn and Snapchat and all the others? What's the difference? What's the fingerprint? What's the surveillance? You know how many businesses are on TikTok and what's going to happen if TikTok is banned? What's going to happen to their money? What about influencers? Whether you like them or not, influencers are going to be affected by this as well. So y'all stay tuned. We're going to keep unfolding this to see what's happening there. But this is the news. These are the facts. And again, it will be in the Friday Rundown. All right, y'all, for the inspirational message today, I just want to say, stay aware. Know your surroundings. Know what's happening all around you. And begin to ask the necessary questions because your questions are what makes a difference. Don't forget that your questions make a difference. So if you have something like when you're hearing this, you're like, well, didn't Gail just talk about the FISA? Well, what's the difference between that and HR Bill 8038? What's the difference? What's the difference between that and Bill 7152? Why are there so many different bills? Why did we have one in 2000, 1979, 2002, 2005? What's the difference? Ask questions. Ask questions at your local HOA. Ask questions at your local school district. Ask questions at your church. Ask questions at the neighborhood community center. Ask questions, y'all. That's how we're empowered. That's my call to action to all of you. That's also my inspirational message. All right, y'all, until tomorrow for Town Hall Thursday, y'all know what I say. Stay well and remember to make some bold moves. We're out. And Isaiah is not paying me any attention. We are out.
NewsInMotion.